Hello and good morning. It's Heather and Phil, and we are here this morning at the Hiwassee Wildlife Refuge. It's November 27th, and the Sandhill Cranes are here. Pretty nice light this morning. It rained overnight, and it's just the weather pattern's kind of clearing out right now. So we've both brought our R7s and 100 to 500s, and we are going to get started working on photographing some of the Sandhill Cranes that spend the winter here at the Hiwassee Wildlife Refuge. Can you hear them? You ever watch one of those YouTube videos where they make you watch them set their camera up for 20 minutes and then show you only one picture? Well, this is not one of those videos. Here are the Sandhill Crane photos just right off the bat. Let's get right to them. Beautiful Sandhill Cranes at the Hiwassee Wildlife Refuge. Heather and I were both shooting fully manual except auto ISO, and I think we had our exposure compensation at about -1/3 of a stop to try to save the bright white spots on these birds. And I tried to edit mine where the white was just right at being clipped without being clipped, and I'm not sure how Heather did hers, but we were really happy on this particular morning. Here's Heather's shots. They will all say Heather Boyd at the bottom right, and that area on my photos won't say anything. It was just a beautiful morning because the clouds were just right. Not too much, not fully overcast, just kind of a partly cloudy weather system breaking up sort of a morning. Look at that beautiful shot Heather has with the bird looking right at us. And it's really cool to see these Sandhill Cranes, and what they do is they hang around in the areas where it used to be underwater, and you'll see that their feet are very muddy, and a lot of times their beaks are very muddy where they're feeding in these areas that just a few weeks ago were underwater, where they bring the Tennessee River level down for the winter and raise it up about 6 or so feet during the summer months. So this is our first batch of photos. It rained overnight, and the weather just cleared out right about at sunrise. We're an hour or two after sunrise, but there's beautiful light with all sorts of great clouds around, and every once in a while we get a cloud behind us and it takes the light off of the birds. But when we get clouds in that direction and sun in that direction, it's really beautiful. Look at all the mud on that Sandhill Crane's feet. This is one of my personal favorites of mine of the entire morning. I just loved the way the light was hitting this bird, and you can see the blues and the whites of the skies. And also there at the Hiwassee Wildlife Refuge, there's mountains in the distance, and the layers of the way the light was hitting the mountains and the sky was really beautiful on this particular morning. Here's 3 Sandhill Cranes flying together, and oftentimes when I catch them flying together, I try to not have them overlap, but on this one I thought the overlap looked really good. Here are 4 Sandhill Cranes flying in, and they were flying left to right, and then they would turn 180 degrees and land right to left a lot of times. And speaking of landing, here's one of Heather's shots, and she's got this Sandhill Crane, the wing position that they use when they're kind of putting on the brakes and drifting in to land. So I thought that shot was really cool. And here's another one of Heather's shots. Beautiful bird, and look at all that mud on the feet and on the beak. And also we managed to make a few photos of some that were on the ground somewhat near us. Still needing full 500 millimeters for this shot was Heather, but just beautiful, and I love the way the bird blends in with the brown and green grasses. And I think Heather said this is one of her favorites just because of all the amazing colors she was able to capture in the clouds and all the colors on the birds. And look, there's shadows of their beaks on their wings. We keep getting a little sun and then a little cloud, but if you can get sun where the birds are and clouds in the background of the birds, that's when it's really beautiful. And we keep making some photos, and we saw a huge flock of American White Pelicans, but it was probably a mile away. I made a video clip of it, probably a couple hundred of them flying around. I thought I made a video clip of those beautiful American White Pelicans so far in the distance, but actually I pressed the wrong button instead of the record button, so Heather shared this photo she made of them so far away. And speaking of so far away, here's an immature bald eagle that flew by, just tiny in the frame, but I wanted to share with you that we did see a bald eagle that morning as well. And now let's go back to the Sandhill Cranes. Now this shot is only 363 millimeters. I didn't use the full 500 millimeters for this shot. And speaking of layers, this is probably my favorite layer photo of the day. You got the layers of the mountains, and then the layers of the clouds, and you've got layers of Sandhill Cranes as well. And Heather made a similar photograph to this. Here's my photograph of one of the Sandhill Cranes that was in the grasses near us, and you can see the water in the background, the top part of the background of this shot. And here is Heather's layers shot, same three birds, and this is two adults. The top two are adults and the bottom one is an immature or a juvenile. This could be a family of three that we see flying here. And here is another grouping of three birds. These are all adults. Still got the beautiful layer of colors in the background, and another one of Heather's shots with layers and the beautiful birds. I love their colors. They've got some really nice grays and blues and reds, but they also have some beautiful browns as well. And here's the final photo of the video, another one of Heather's shots. Look at all the mud on that beautiful Sandhill Crane as it flies around at the Hiwassee Wildlife Refuge in Tennessee. We've had a great time here at the Hiwassee Wildlife Refuge, and we appreciate you joining us. And we would like a thumbs up if you like the content, subscribe, and hit the bell, and all that stuff. Thanks a bunch. We look forward to seeing you in the next one. Bye-bye.